Welcome back to the Wolf of Property and Casualty. I'm your host, Derek Lasniak, with over 15 years of commercial broking experience focused on the middle market, upper middle market, national account space. The Wolf of Property and Casualty is a practitioner-led podcast designed for brokers, buyers, and insurance carriers. No BS, just insurance, nothing to sell here each and every episode. Today, I want to talk about something I used to call BRMA. We got a big kick out of BRMA. And this is something that seems incredibly simple, can be generated with AI like the one that I have on the screen. And yet I think it's overlooked. We called this BRMA where I used to work, and that was short for Balanced Risk Management Approach. You don't have to have a name for this. We used to spend a lot of time and a lot of admin time and our marketing time actually building this document in PowerPoint, which was incredibly frustrating because trying to line up bar graphs for every individual client was a tedious task to make it look professional. I had this sample one made with Gemini, and I didn't have necessarily the brain power to put in fictitious carriers, premiums, deductibles, and stuff like that. So I just said, make it up. So I know that this has gotten easier. And I operated under the assumption that these have been utilized by every commercial broker out there for many years. And I've been doing some work helping out some folks, and I'm essentially auditing a commercial insurance program for a pretty large client with a top 10 broker in the country. They gave me everything that they had from their insurance broker, and I went through and I kept expecting to find, because the first thing I wanted to do to get a feel for the insurance program and give myself the ability to know when I dug deeper into policies that I didn't overlook something. It's nice to read the table of contents sometimes before you read the book. And that's exactly what this is. And I was like dumbfounded, and I had the idea for this episode when I realized that they didn't have one of these. And I know that this insurance broker makes these because I've run up against them in competition. I've seen them, but it's still individualized. So much of this business is not necessarily the name on the front of the jersey, but it's the name on the back. What you do inside your franchise might be different than another franchise. So for brokers out there and buyers, here's a call to action. This is a document that I think is one of the most easy to generate and one of the most powerful documents out there. For brokers out there, I would put this in my top 3 documents that I use day in and day out with my clients, right up there with the composite rate schedule. And so what is Balanced Risk Management Approach, or BRMA as we like to call it? It is a bar graph. And for those who aren't tuning in to see the video, essentially what it is a bar graph that you read left to right, and every bar represents the amount of insurance by line of coverage. And you can structure this however you want. What we used to do is to put the limit would be along the y-axis, the vertical axis, and then every column or every bar would be a different line of coverage. And then below that bar, what we would have is the insurance carrier that it's with, the premium, the deductible, and maybe if we had any other information we'd want to. And for many of our clients, they had maybe multiple layers or multiple carriers. So you would build a bar with a different color on top of it. So if you had a $20 million umbrella, you would maybe have 2 10s and you'd have 2 different colors of bars. And let me tell you why this is important for brokers and buyers. So the first reason that I think this document becomes really important is because I think every broker out there, an insurance carrier, all we think about is insurance, commercial insurance. We live and breathe and we die, and that becomes our truth. It's our life. CFOs and buyers out there don't necessarily want to be an insurance nerd. Most CFOs, most controllers, most directors of accounting, most purchasing people who need to know limits of insurance when they're negotiating contracts, they want something easy. And this is a visual representation of an entire insurance program in an easy to look at. I used to laminate this document and give it to my clients because I know that when they needed to reference what their insurance looked like or how much umbrella I have or what's our EPL deductible, they weren't going to look at the policies that I stopped giving them because they never read them. And hell, even going through my proposal or summary document was a pain in the ass. So what are you giving your clients, brokers, that shows all the policies in force in a quick glance, easy to use document? We did BRMA. We did something that looks like what I have on the screen. And this became probably the most powerful document. I used to save all of these for my clients on my phone so I could pull it up if I was in a meeting. I could pull it up if I was on a claim review and a side question came up because we were worried about litigation from a denied work comp claim. And the CFO, who never comes to claim reviews, but came to this one and said, "What's the retention on our EPL program?" Or when you're doing a walkthrough with a plant manager and an insurance carrier, and they say, "What's your property deductible?" or "What's your wind hail for your roof?" This becomes a quick access tool, not just for the buyer, but for the broker. And this is something that time and time again, I was shocked that wasn't out there or wasn't a common part. Like I said, I was just reviewing a program and this document was nowhere to be found. And this organization has north of 15, 16 different policies in force. Creating these documents, which is incredibly easy, has a huge amount of benefit. The second thing that I got value out of this, I was a big fan of stewardship meetings. And those were meetings that I would have before the renewal where we talked about what did we achieve on the risk management side, to talk about what went right, what went wrong, what did we achieve, what didn't. You're going to ask for a raise. The best time to do it is after you go over your accomplishments. If you didn't get everything done, don't wait for someone to say, "Well, he said he was going to do this and he didn't." Just own it and talk about the reasons you didn't get things done. I oftentimes at a stewardship meeting would be talking about where have we come from when we first met, where have we come? There is no easier way for an owner of a business who's maybe not in that meeting, who's getting secondhand information from the CFO. I always wanted to present documents that if I gave it to my CFO or I gave it to my buyer and he was going to the owner, could he get my point across that made me look like I was doing my job? Was it easy for him to explain to the owner that Derek does a really good job and you shouldn't listen to the guy that you keep playing golf with at the country club? So what I used to do is, especially after over my longest term clients, is I would have that composite rate document. You can go back and listen to the episode where it shows the evolution of rates. You can even add composite rates to this BRMA document that I have on the screen here. But where this becomes powerful outside of it just being a quick reference for carrier limit price is if you put three of these together and you show the evolution of an insurance program with an executive summary that includes 5 bullet points of the biggest accomplishments over the last year. Let's say you were able to negotiate a drop in the premium on your umbrella while minimizing 3 carriers down to 2 because you found more capacity. Visual representation of an evolution of a program. I have a 4-year-old son, and I know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. He can't read yet. Nobody's going to read a 20-page insurance summary and glean your main talking points about all the great work you did, brokers. So, but they can look at 3 different pictures and see how bars changed over time or see how price changed relative to bars. So I've even overlaid a line graph on top of this bar chart to show the evolution of price and where it was 3 years ago versus today. This tool can become one of the most important tools that makes your customer's life very easy. And it also is so simple to put together. I was shocked when I didn't see it in the program that I'm doing some work on right now. If you're not doing this document, buyers, if you're not getting this document, it's a simple ask and you should. And my guess is it's going to make your life easy and it's going to make other people on your team who you want to have exposure to the company's insurance program a lot easier for them to palletize it and to understand it. So don't sleep on this. Quick hit for today, quick document that drives a big impact.